Hi, I'm Dr. Downey. Thanks so much for watching. Sorry I'm out of breath. I'm just using a blood supply to do some housekeeping on the body. I hope you are too. The topic for today's video is mastering the basics, because as you'll soon see, we've gotten away from some of them. Let's go back to the office so I can explain. There, that's better. To begin, can we just agree on a simple truth? We all want to be healthier. Who doesn't? What if I was to provide you with at least some of the information and tools to do just that? Well, the first thing many people would say is, where's the catch? There's got to be one. And you know what? You got me. After I provide you with the proper tools, it will be up to you to use them. That's the catch. Let's begin. Did you realize, for instance, that we in the United States have 3 things going for our health that no other country in the world has? Number 1, we have some of the most highly trained doctors. Other countries send their people here to receive the training that we get. Number 2, we have some of the most modern facilities. That fact puts us on the leading edge as newer technologies come along. Again, a very good thing. Number 3, we have the most money to spend on health care. It's called discretionary income. Now, let's just see if we are on the same page here. We live in the country with the most highly trained doctors, the most modern facilities, and the most money to spend on health care. Knowing this then, where do you suppose the United States ranks compared to other countries with regards to our health? Obviously, number 1, right? Wrong. How does the number 26 sound? Surprised? Most people are, but I'm actually amazed that it's even that high for reasons that will be explained. Oh, and I almost forgot. Our utilization of medical services in this country also surpasses everyone else. So, in this scenario, do you think that our country using even more of these same medical services, or perhaps throwing additional money at this problem, is going to solve it? You already know the answer. I've just introduced you to the greatest paradox in healthcare. This sounds ridiculous and counterintuitive, but turns out to be true. Follow this through with me to see where this is going. Here, we live in a country with the 3 things other countries wish they had: seeing our doctors more and spending more on health care than any of them, yet we don't enjoy a higher quality of life than they do. This paradox keeps repeating time and time again, yet we seem to expect different results. Do you think then that we should be doing something else? That's kind of obvious. So what is the solution? I'll tell you. What other countries have realized is that good health occurs with how you live your life outside your doctor's office, not with treatment practiced inside your doctor's office. This fact alone should at least get us started. Maybe we should begin by looking at what those other countries are doing to be healthier and knowing what I'm about to teach you, maybe even better. That is the purpose of this video. Well then, the first question you might want to ask is, how did we get to this point? The answer is that we have been guilty of focusing on only one of the basics that we need to achieve health. It's not really that hard to understand. You see, we need only three things to achieve even greater levels of health. The first would be something provided from the outside, like food and water. The second thing that we need is a delivery system to take these things from the outside and to deliver them both to and from the proper place in the body so that they can be used. The third thing is an electrical system to monitor it all and supplies the healing energy to perform these tasks. Pretty simple, actually. Our current system of healthcare, however, has largely been set up to only reward and benefit treatments used from the outside. I never said the game was fair. To prove this very point, the next time you see your physician, surprise them with a quiz. Ask them, "Doctor, what are the only two forces that heal the body from the inside?" And listen to what they say. The answer, of course, is a blood or lymph supply and a proper nerve supply. You know what? I'd be surprised if they even get one of them right. It's not because your doctor isn't smart, however. It's just that they've only been mostly trained to use only one of the basics. So, how do we deal with this mess? That's why I brought a prop along with me today, a golf club. You don't even need to be a golfer to understand what I'm about to say next. You see, in teaching people how to play the game of golf, you have to start with three essentials: grip, posture, and alignment. Every golf professional will tell you that. Why? Because a deficiency in any of these areas can lead to problems later. Even Jack Nicklaus, one of golf's greats, has said to have a better golf game, master the basics. He has even gone one step further by saying that shortcuts to these basics rarely work in the long run. Remember that, because we will refer to it later. Just as there are three essentials in golf to master, there are three things in healthcare you need to master. Number one, a blood supply or delivery system. Number two, an outside supply to provide the proper parts and chemicals. And number three, a nerve supply which oversees and controls thousands of these processes seamlessly, using electrical energy to perform this. I can tell you from experience that the need to use all three of these is going to be new to many of you. Understand and master these, and just like in a golf swing, you set yourself up for the greatest chance of success. Now, here's the sad reality. In our current healthcare system, we've mostly neglected the blood and nerve supplies, forgetting that our bodies are run by electricity, or in other words, healing energy. Many physicians are still reluctant to acknowledge the fact that we are run by energy, and that it is our brain that is responsible for this action. If you don't believe me, then just put a surgical cut on somebody who has just recently died. What happens? Nothing. Even though all the parts and chemicals required are still there. You see, a cut put on someone who is alive triggers an electrical event that results in a healing response. Along those same lines, did you realize that right now we are at the beginning of an electrical revolution in this country with the cars that we drive? We will soon be realizing their potential, yet haven't recognized the same electrical potential for our own bodies. Who would have thought that our healthcare industry would be lagging behind the automotive industry? Hopefully, not for very much longer. To finish up, back to golf. You know, you could probably go to a PGA professional this very day, and they would help you with all the three essentials or basics you need in one setting. To master the three things you need in healthcare, you will probably have to travel outside the established norm to get them all. Kind of frustrating, isn't it? Fortunately, we are beginning to see more integrated practices in this country that use more of the basics. But until they become the new normal, you'll just have to be aware of that and act accordingly. You know what I like in this situation too? A great big orchestra. You see, all the instruments are necessary to make beautiful music together. But instead of embracing the contributions from all the players, we have, as physicians, have chosen to fight amongst ourselves as to which one is more important. Kind of petty, don't you think? And it's ultimately the patient who has suffered for it by pretty much being exposed to only one of the basics. Another thing to know, we've gotten really creative in our use of these outside ways of treatment, often substituting them for the other two inside ways. In a golfer's world, that would be like changing your grip to compensate for alignment and posture issues. Time and time again, we continue to try it, yet these quick fixes rarely work well in the long run. So too in healthcare. Strange things can be true. So let's see how these three essentials or basics fit together in the long run. In looking at the strengths and weaknesses of the three ways, it's important to make some distinctions. Before I begin, let me say that I fully understand that there are some exceptions to these rules, but don't let the exceptions cloud the bigger truth of what I'm about to say next. The first rule is that outside ways have their strength in that they can artificially extend the quantity of our lives, which is perhaps why they have led to the belief that outside ways are all that you would ever need. They are also pretty darn good at addressing obvious symptoms, like pain, often delivered in a pill form, resulting in that quick fix, which, as we have just discussed, may not take you where you want to go. The downside, if you will, is that we've built an unhealthy reliance on these outside ways, not even considering the other two basics that you need. The second rule is that a blood and nerve supply has its strengths and that they tap into your body's energy, using the body to heal from within. This contribution to quality of life is already being enjoyed by those countries referred to earlier. Again, they use far fewer medical services and spend much less on health care. The downside is that a blood and nerve supply rarely causes the quick fixes observed with outside ways, so people don't use inside ways like they should. Inside ways also have their greatest strength on the preventative side of things, preventing problems before bad things happen. It's no secret, however, that we live in an instant gratification society. Outside ways often addressing this and have paid a big price for it. Just look at your insurance bills. Crazy. Now, let's take a look at this from a larger point of view. If you had to choose between quality of life represented by inside ways or quantity of life represented by outside ways, which one would you rather have? Most people would opt for quality, where a blood and nerve supply just happens to have their strengths. Furthermore, a blood and nerve supply are using the intelligence of the body to heal from within. Therefore, no side effects. Lost on many is the fact that the body does a great job of healing on its own when given the chance. For instance, replacing all the cells in our body on a regular basis. Let some chemical or procedure from the outside do that. Outside ways are also dependent on our best educated guesses. In other words, we as doctors are trying to use our own intelligence to try and tell your body what we think it needs. I know you've seen examples in your own life where doctors with the best intent and knowledge have failed badly in that regard with a patient's care. Unfortunately, once habits like outside ways have woven their way into the fabric of society, they become difficult to change. That doesn't mean that you have to follow that crowd, however. Why change what we've been doing, knowing that outside ways will always be only one part of a bigger solution? That's up to you to decide. At the end of this video, I have listed just some of the ways that use these different basics. Take a look at them. Many people are surprised because when they look at them, they find they have been using just one of the basics or tools, yet expect an abundance of health. Why not use all of the tools from all of the basics? This list is by no means complete, and as we evolve will no doubt be added to. But my point is that any new discoveries will still use these three same categories. But please, don't lose sight of the bigger picture. You still need all three of the basics. I hope I've made my point. How many of these basics should you use? In a perfect world, probably all of them. But for now, review the various ways and choose the ones that make the most sense to you. The more the better. Remember, other countries have been using more of the inside ways than we have and have been reaping the benefits. Maybe it's time we did too. By using them all, however, you might just be giving yourself the greatest chance of reaching your own potential, perhaps even evolving to the person you were meant to be. I would like to leave you with just one last thought. As you begin to see more and more electrical vehicles on the road, realize that you too are driving your very own electric Lamborghini right now. One that comes equipped with an intelligence that knows way more about what it takes to be healthy than any of us doctors. It's performing things every day we can only wish we could do. So imagine this. You've been given the freedom to take this vehicle of yours anywhere. Why not use it to go where you want to go? Thanks for watching.